here, so help us, join us in welcoming the wrestling champion, Mick Foley.
Here it is, possibly the most anticlimactic beginning where I adjust the microphone without getting hurt, okay? How's that? Better? Okay. Okay, thank you very much for coming. I should know by now that I have a distinct advantage over most authors when it comes to these appearances, and I failed to utilize it tonight because most authors do not have their own entrance music, right? And I just didn't bring it. But listen, this might seem strange to a lot of most of you here are wrestling fans. I take it, right? This is going to be an audience participation thing, so let's have a show of hands if you are here because you are a wrestling fan or the parent of a fan who was dragged here by a child. Okay. Almost anyone want to put their hand up and just say they heard nice things about me or really? Really? You're not a wrestling fan? You came here anyway? Oh, you are a wrestler. Okay. How many of you have been to a book reading / signing before? All right, quite a few. Who have you seen?
Craig Johnson.
What? I didn't ask you. Who did you see?
Craig Johnson.
You saw Craig Johnson? And how was that?
Very good.
Did he read?
Yes.
Okay, and who did you see?
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, really? Did he read?
No.
Oh, he didn't. He just talked for a little while? Okay, well, that's the point I'm getting. Hold on one second. Was anybody in the Impact Zone last Thursday? Yeah, when I had the match. Yeah, thanks. So I know. I mean, I'm used to doing some wild stuff. So the idea of coming in public and reading out loud might seem kind of wimpy, but that's what Barnes & Noble wanted. So that's what I'm going to give them. Okay, so we're going to go for it right now. But one might well ask, since when has being reasonable meant very much to us? It is notorious that we humans have a talent, which we frequently display for ignoring and evading the requirements of rationality. How then can it be considered at all likely that we will respect and accede to the rational imperative that we take truth seriously? Before we give up on ourselves too hastily, hold on a second, let me introduce, hold on. I'm supposed to read from my own book? This piece of crap? Are you kidding me? Oh, that makes a little more sense. I'm sorry. Okay, I've just set the bar really low intellectually, so now we're going to hurdle over it very, very easily. This book, Countdown to Lockdown, is something I'm very proud of. It's kind of a book that occurred accidentally because, quite honestly, I never meant to write it. I was inspired by an unusual, a very unique person. Does anyone know the story? Has anyone seen it in Slate.com or heard me talk about it? What did you hear?
That you met Tori Amos at Comic-Con 2008.
Yes, I met singer Tori Amos at Comic-Con 2008, and for months I thought that she might be like just impressed enough, not really impressed enough to buy one of my books, but maybe impressed enough like to look at one in the store. And as soon as I saw what I'd actually written in Have a Nice Day and in Hardcore Diaries, I like shuddered. So I was like reading about how as the music grew, so did the thoughts in my mind of hardcore destruction and barbarity. I was like, ooh, I don't think that's why she wrote the song about her dad. And I was afraid that she wouldn't particularly want to inspire those matches, and later on would want to have her own chapter in a wrestling book. And so we got her the chapter, and it turned out that she liked it, was flattered by it, and she was looking forward to reading the rest. I don't know if she has or not, but I try to make each one of these talks kind of unique to the place we're in. And so as I was making my way to Colonial Drive, I saw the Bob Carr Performing Arts Center, and that was where I met Tori Amos for the second time, the first time since she had read that chapter, and she had something unique to say. The match that she had inspired, the first one, was this barbed wire match between me and Terry Funk that would have gotten us arrested in just about every state in this country. It was just completely insane. And I don't know if I would have been able to have that type of match without that unique inspiration. And what she said to me was, in the dressing room of the Bob Carr Performing Arts Center, she said, I would have liked to have known more about the match. Because I ended it by saying, I went from saying, I pressed play on my Sony Walkman to saying, I came back 20 minutes later, convinced I just had the best barbed wire match in history. And I said, well, you know what's funny? I did write about it in my first book, but believe it or not, I don't even own the copyright to that book. And then she said, why don't you just write something new? I said, I can do that. So I went back home and I reshaped the chapter, and I'm going to read a little bit of it to you that would not be here had it not been for that meeting a couple miles away at the Bob Carr Performing Arts Center. This is Tracy Smothers, who's a guy, not a girl, coming up to me after seeing me getting into the zone for this match. Tracy Smothers, a veteran wrestler I've known for years, had witnessed my pre-match disposition rocking, shaking, fighting back tears, and correctly surmised that I might have something special on tap for the audience in Hangzhou. Cactus, promise me you won't do anything crazy out there, he said. At the time, it struck me as the most absurd request ever made. You know I can't do that, I said, as I stepped out into the gymnasium fully intent on making hardcore history. Looking back, after all these years, it's probably the match I'm proudest of. Funk once told Barry Blaustein, the director of the acclaimed wrestling documentary Beyond the Mat, it was possibly his favorite match. Quite an accolade given the Funker's storied, legendary 4 decades in the business. Sure, it was bloody, but that's kind of a given. Every barbed wire match is. But aside from the almost obligatory forehead laceration, there was so much innovative, if ridiculously dangerous stuff, not done simply for the sake of being ridiculous or dangerous, but with the sincere belief that a classic match could put our small promotion on the map. Make no mistake about it, some of this stuff, fire chair, the flaming branding iron, that Ball's first barbed wire drop I made mention of, was ridiculously dangerous. But perhaps most ridiculously of all, I fully intended to hang myself in the barbed wire that night in Hangzhou. Well, maybe not literally hang myself, but close enough, propelling my body over the top strand of the wire while catching my head between the second and third strands, creating the very realistic illusion of hanging. Unfortunately, the illusion of hanging requires, hanging. And the ramifications of such a move were bound to be severe. After all, it was the same move, sans barbed wire, that had been responsible for the loss of my right ear. The same move done in barbed wire? Probably not the best idea I'd ever had, even if I did have the foresight to concoct what seemed like a foolproof exit strategy. In addition to the buckets of water and wet towels to be used in case of any type of fire mishap, each of the young boys had their own personal wire clipper and were under direct orders to start clipping in earnest the moment I got caught up in the wire. But those